the month of January, we're going to focus our energies on two things: Capricorn season early in the month and Aquarius season later in the month. For the month of January, of course, just like full moon in Cancer, new moon in Capricorn, the regular, but the main energies, the main transit would be a collection of planets: the Sun, Mars, Mercury, Venus, conjunct at the end degrees of Capricorn, and Sun, Mars, Venus, and Mercury conjunct Pluto at the early degrees of Aquarius. So from the middle of the month all the way to the end of the month, we're going to feel these very concentrated energies at the very end of Capricorn and at the very early part of Aquarius. Not only that, Neptune is going to leave Pisces forever. I mean, not forever, for the next more than 1 century. We're not going to see Neptune again in Pisces. Neptune will finish its transit in Pisces and will start a new transit, a new cycle in Aries later in the month. So this is going to be my simple take on the energies of January for all 12 rising signs. For the first rising sign, we will go to Aries rising, the most accurate, followed by Aries sun and Aries moon. For my dear Aries rising friends, for the month of January, the focus will be on Capricorn and then on Aquarius, which is your 10th house and your 11th house. So these two houses are a very public house. The 10th house is your reputation, your status, your career, and then later in the month, the energies of the planets will move into your Aquarius houses. This is the house of community, networking, friends, social media. This is basically the house where you are part of the collective. So for the first part of the month, focus on your career. There's a lot of energies here. And then for the second part of the month, after the 20th, there's going to be a lot of planets moving towards Aquarius. Mars is going to move to Aquarius, Mercury definitely going to move to Aquarius, Venus, and of course the Sun. Other than these two houses, there's going to be the usual illumination. There's going to be a full moon in your 4th house in Cancer, your family, your home. Something is culminating there. And then there's going to be a new moon in Capricorn. You're going to start maybe something new or new projects in terms of your career. But you also have to remember, later part of the month, Neptune will enter your 1st house permanently. So Neptune in the 1st house, it will soften the rough edges of Aries. But you have to remember, when Neptune enters your 1st house, you can get confused about not just about other people, but especially about you, yourself. So just be mindful of that. But for the month of January, the focus will be on your 10th and your 11th house, as well as the illumination on your 10th and your 4th house. And Neptune will transit Aries, which is your 1st house. For the second rising sign, we will go to Taurus rising, the most accurate, followed by Taurus sun and Taurus moon. For my dear Taurus rising friends, for the month of January, the focus will be on your 9th and then followed by your 10th house. So on the first part of the month, there's going to be a lot of energies in Capricorn, which is your 9th house. This is about travel. This is about philosophy of life, higher learnings, the higher minds. This is also about foreign things, foreign lands, publications, the law. Something is going to stir up in this part of your chart because there's a lot of concentrated energy in Capricorn. And then after that, in the later part of the month, we're going to see the movement or transits of planets towards your 10th house. You're going to focus more on your career, which is Aquarius house for Taurus rising. You also have to remember Neptune is moving to Aries. Neptune is moving to Aries, which is for Taurus rising. Aries is your 12th house. So Neptune is in home in the 12th house. It's a planet of sleep, rest, and relaxation in the house of rest, sleep, and relaxation. But you have to remember, Neptune also can trigger something in terms of your mental health, because the 12th house is the realm of mental health. So just be mindful for the next more than a decade, 1.5 decades, you're going to focus more in terms of your mental health because Neptune is here. I suggest you going to have more regimented sleeping. Anything regarding sleep, Journaling, dream journaling is also very good. You also have to remember Neptune in your 12th house is asking you to be spiritually active, not just mentally active, not just transcend your mental woes, but make sure that you incorporate spirituality into your mental health regimen so that you can get the most of Neptune. Other than that, there's going to be the typical illumination. There's going to be a new moon in Capricorn in your 9th house, and there's going to be a full moon in Cancer earlier in the month in your 3rd house. For the next rising sign, we will go to Gemini rising, the most accurate, followed by Gemini sun and Gemini moon. For my dear Gemini rising friends, the month of January is going to focus your energies on the house of the 9th house and the 8th house. For Gemini rising, Capricorn is your 8th house. This is the house of transformation, psychology, investments. This is the house of shared resources. This is the house of crisis. So I'm not saying that you're going to have a crisis, no, but because there's a lot of energies in your 8th house, right? So something could happen, because not only that, Mars is there. Mars is a trigger. Mars is very, very strong in Capricorn in your 8th house. Later in the month, the movement is going to change from Capricorn towards the next sign, which is Aquarius. For Gemini rising, Aquarius is your 9th house. So your focus is from a very heavy 8th house towards a much more lighter, enjoyable, a much more open-minded 9th house, which is travel. The 9th house is also about philosophy of life, open-mindedness, about religion, about publication. So there's going to be a change of perspective, a change of tone within this 1 month, from heavy Capricorn 8th house energy towards a lighter Aquarius 9th house energy. There's also going to be the typical illumination. There's going to be a new moon in Capricorn as well as full moon in Cancer. For Gemini rising, this full moon is highlighting your 2nd house. The new moon is highlighting your 8th house in Capricorn. As well as, remember, Neptune later in the month will transit Aries permanently. For Gemini rising, Aries is your 11th house. So Neptune could bring something that could confuse you, but also inspire you in terms of your 11th house, which is your friendship, networking, social media, and also hopes and dreams. For the next rising sign, we will go to Cancer rising, the most accurate, followed by Cancer sun and Cancer moon. For my dear Cancer rising friends, this month of January will highlight 2 houses, which is your 7th house and then your 8th house. First part of the month, Capricorn, 7th house, relationship, marriage, contracts, business partnership. Later in the month, 8th house, Aquarius. 8th house is transformation, crisis, shared resources, investments. This is quite a heavy house, but because Aquarius is a lighter energy, air energy, there's going to be a cerebral action that points you towards the 8th house things in your life. So 7th house and then later 8th house. This going to be the focus of the month of January, as well as the typical illumination. The illumination will hit you directly because there's going to be a full moon in your sign, 1st house, culmination, and then a new moon, something new in terms of your relationship in your 7th house. There's going to be Neptune transiting Aries. For Cancer rising, Aries is your 10th house. This is a good moment for you to maybe use creativity, use spirituality, or basically just use kindness in your career. Because for Cancer, Aries is your 10th house. Neptune will stay there for the next 1.5 decades, roughly. So this is a good time for you to make long-term plans in terms of your career, to match your career with the energy of Neptune. For the next rising sign, we will go to Leo rising, the most accurate, followed by Leo sun and Leo moon. For my dear Leo rising friends, this month of January is going to focus on your 7th and then your 6th house. For the first part, there's going to be a focus on Capricorn, which is your 6th house. This is your daily grind, your work, your daily details. This is the house of improvement. This is the house of health and also your pet. And then after that, there's going to be a shift of focus towards your 7th house, Aquarius for Leo, which is your relationship, partnership, marriage. So from work to relationship, this is going to be the shift of focus for you, Leo rising, in the month of January. There's also the typical illumination, right? There's going to be a full moon in Cancer in your 12th house, and then there's going to be a new moon in Capricorn in your 6th. Maybe you're going to start a new job, 6th house. A full moon in Cancer, maybe your efforts towards your mental health is going to reveal its results due to this full moon. As well as Neptune later in the month will transit into Aries. For Leo rising, Neptune is transiting your 9th house. This is actually a good position for Neptune because you can deeply connect spirituality and the 9th house, which is also spirituality. To some extent it is spirituality, but it is more about religion. Spirituality is the realm of the 12th house, but because Neptune is the original ruler of the 12th house, so you can combine those two. Inspiration, Neptune, as well as religion, maybe 9th house, as well as travel. Because for Leo rising, Aries is your 9th house. Maybe you will go to places that inspire you spiritually. But you have to remember, Neptune is going to transit the 9th house for more than a decade, so you have plenty of time to do that. For the next rising sign, we will go to Virgo rising, the most accurate, followed by Virgo sun and Virgo moon. For my dear Virgo rising friends, the month of January is the focus will be on your 6th as well as on your 5th house. So for the first part of the month, Capricorn house, your 5th house, about children, joy, happiness, creativity, a lot of energy there. And then after that, later in the month, there's going to a lot of planets will move to Aquarius, which is your 6th house. This is the time for you to progress on your work, your chores, daily details, the details of your career, your health, as also progress or focus on your pets if you want to have a pet or there's something about your pet. So the month of January is from creativity and joy into a more serious matter, the 6th house, improvement matter, the 6th house. As well as the typical illumination, there's going to be a full moon in Cancer, which is your 11th house for Virgo, and then there's a new moon in Capricorn, which is your 5th house. Maybe you're going to start something new in terms of your creativity, or maybe you're going to experience something new in terms of your children. But there's going to be a culmination in terms of your friendship, Cancer, 11th house. Your hopes and dreams and goals, 11th house. As well as later in the month, there's going to be transit of Neptune, permanently leaving Pisces and going to stay in Aries permanently, right? It's going to stay in Aries roughly more than a decade, right? For Virgo rising, Aries is your 8th house, because Virgo is 1st house, and then Pisces is 7th house, Aries is your 8th house. So Neptune transiting the 8th house will give you a bit of softening in terms of the heavy energy of the 8th house. So you don't have to worry, you don't have to be afraid. Neptune will help soften the 8th house, but you also have to remember, Neptune can confuse things. Remember, if you are heavy on investments or you like to invest your money, be careful. For the next rising sign, we will go to Libra rising, the most accurate, followed by Libra sun and Libra moon. For my dear Libra rising friends, the month of January, the focus will be on your Capricorn and your Aquarius house. This is the 4th house and then the 5th house. For Libra rising, earlier in the month, focus will be on your 4th house, homes and family, right? And then after that, later in the month, the focus is going to be, because a lot of planets will move to Aquarius, the focus will be on joy, creativity, right? Children, a much lighter feeling, 5th house. There's going also to be the typical illumination. There's going to be a new moon in 4th house, something new in terms of your family or your homes, and then there's going to be a full moon in the 10th house. There's going to be culmination in terms of your career, because for Libra, Cancer is your 10th house. Another big event later in the month is going to be Neptune transiting permanently, leaving Pisces, transiting permanently towards Aries. For Libra, Aries is your 7th house. Remember, Neptune in the 7th house will soften the 7th house. It will aspecting you directly by opposition. So there could be a confusion in terms of your relationship, partnership, even marriage. So just be mindful. For the next rising sign, we will go to Scorpio rising, the most accurate, followed by Scorpio sun and Scorpio moon. For my dear Scorpio rising friends, this month of January is going to focus on your 4th house as well on your 3rd house, because for Scorpio rising, Aquarius is your 4th house, and then Capricorn is your 3rd house, because after Scorpio there's going to be Sagittarius and Capricorn the 3rd. So in the first part of the month, Capricorn will be the focus, right? Capricorn will be the focus. There's going to be a lot of energies in terms of your communication skills as well as siblings. And then later in the month, the energies will shift towards Aquarius, more emphasis towards family, your homes, your properties, emphasis on that. So it's going to be, the energy will hit you internally, because 4th house is very internal for you. There's going to be typical illumination. There's going to be a new moon in Capricorn in your 3rd house, something new in terms of your siblings or maybe your communication or your skills. There's going to be culmination also because of the full moon in Cancer, which is your 9th house for Scorpio. Cancer is your 9th house. This is a good house. Full moon is there together with Jupiter. Very lucky. Culminating energy in terms of your 9th house, maybe culminating in terms of your travel, your efforts towards travel, or maybe your efforts towards publishing a book, or maybe an efforts towards university studies, something like that. But another thing that you have to remember, there's going to be a major transit of Neptune to Aries. For Scorpio rising, right? For Scorpio rising, Aries is your 6th house. Neptune will transit your 6th house. Neptune will transit your 6th house. 6th house is about health. It's about work. It's about daily details, improvement. Neptune could create confusion on these things, right? Because 6th house is the house that is the house that literally asks you to be regimented, to be ordered, right? This is the house of improvement. Everything needs to be in order. Neptune is opposite of that. So just be mindful. Within the next 1.5 decades, be mindful of your health as well as your work and your pets. For the next rising sign, we will go to Sagittarius rising, the most accurate, followed by Sagittarius sun and Sagittarius moon. For my dear Sagittarius friends, the month of January is going to focus the energies mostly on your Capricorn house and on your Aquarius house. For Sagittarius rising, Capricorn is your 2nd house, and then Aquarius is your 3rd house. So for the first part of the month, a lot of energies, a lot of planets will be in your money house. It's all about money. Later in the month, the focus will shift from money towards communication, because a lot of planets will transit and touch Pluto, which is in Aquarius. So from money to communications and siblings and skills also. And then there's going to be the typical illuminations. There's going to be a new moon in Capricorn and then full moon in Cancer. For Sagittarius rising, full moon is going to be in Cancer, the house of transformation, also investments. Maybe there's something about investments, your investments, that's finally going to result in you maybe gaining more money, who knows? But there's also going to be a new moon in Capricorn, new efforts, new manifestation in terms of your money. So this illumination will hit your money access, 2nd and 8th house. As well as we have to remember, later in the month, there's going to be a transit of Neptune in Aries permanently. So for Sagittarius rising, Aries is going to be your 5th house. So Neptune in the 5th, beautiful, lovely. But you also have to remember, even though Neptune is a very creative planet, transiting a very creative house, it is also the house of children. You can be confused in terms of your relationship with children. So just be mindful. For the next rising sign, we will go to Capricorn rising, the most accurate, followed by Capricorn sun and Capricorn moon. For my dear Capricorn rising friends, the month of January is going to focus the energies on you, 1st house, as well as in Aquarius, your 2nd house. The focus is in you personally, physically, first house, and then the focus will turn into your second house, money. So it's about you, and then your body, and then your appearance, and then after that, focus would be on money when planets and energies transit towards Aquarius, which is your second house. There's also going to be a typical illumination. There's going to be a new moon in Capricorn in your first house. Something new that you're going to start, because it's in the first house. It's up to you, right? Maybe you want to start something new in terms of your appearance, maybe. And then there's also going to be a full moon in Cancer in your seventh house. There's going to be culmination in terms of your relationship, your partnership, even your marriage. Something culminating, something is going to end with this full moon in Cancer. As well as there's going to be Neptune transiting permanently to Aries. For Capricorn rising, Aries is your fourth house. Neptune is going to transit a very bottom part of your chart, a very personal, very private part of your chart. Neptune is a private planet. It's in a very private, very bottom, private part of the chart. So take advantage of this. Beautify your home. Make your home inspirational. Make your relationship with your family inspirational. Infuse spirituality with your family and homes. But remember, Neptune can confuse things. So be mindful. For the next rising sign, we will go to Aquarius rising, the most accurate, followed by Aquarius sun and Aquarius moon. For my dear Aquarius rising friends, the month of January is going to focus the energies on your 12th house and then on your first house. Capricorn is your 12th house, mental health, first part of the month. Later in the month, there's going to be a transit of energy, change of energy towards your first house, vitality. The sun, Mercury, Venus, Mars, all will transit into your first house. This is a very big jolt of energy heading towards your body, your first house, your appearance, your aura, your energy. So take advantage. But for the first part of the month, it's going to be about mental health. Make sure you rest. Make sure you take care of your mental health. There's going to be typical illumination. There's going to be a new moon in Capricorn, something new. But before that, there's going to be a full moon in Cancer, which is your sixth house. There's going to be a culmination in terms of your career, your health, your pets, your efforts towards your job, your daily details, basically improving your life. There's going to be a culmination energy in the sixth house. And then there's going to be a new start in your 12th house, Capricorn, a new start in terms of your mental health, or maybe new mental health regimen, or something in terms of your mental health that could help you strengthen and can help you improve your mental health. You also have to remember there's going to be a transit of Neptune towards your third house. For Aquarius, Aries is your third house. Neptune will going to Aries permanently. So there's going to be a softening of energy and a more understanding of energy towards your third house. Maybe an improvement with relationship towards your siblings, or maybe you can improve the way you communicate with Neptune in your third house. But you have to remember this transit is long term. It's not going to be overnight, and you have to be aware of the energy. You can also experience confusion, because third house is a very cerebral house. Neptune is not a very cerebral planet. In fact, it's the opposite of cerebral. So just be mindful. For the last rising sign, we will go to Pisces rising, the most accurate, followed by Pisces sun and Pisces moon. For my dear Pisces rising friends, the month of January is going to focus the energies on two houses, which is your Aquarius house, 12th house, and then firstly, in the first part of the month, Capricorn house, which is your 11th house. So for the first part of the month, focus is on your friendship and networking, Capricorn, and then after all the planets move towards Aquarius, your focus will be on Aquarius, mental health. Take care of that, because there's going to be a lot of energies in your 12th house, so mental health is going to be very important. There's going to be typical illumination, new moon in the 11th house, Capricorn, and full moon in the 5th house, Cancer. First, there's going to be a full moon in Cancer. It's going to, earlier in the month, it's going to highlight whatever effort you've been putting into your 5th house. Creativity, children, hobbies, joy and fun, romance also. And then there's going to be, later in the month, there's going to be a new moon in Capricorn in your 11th house for Pisces rising. This is going to be a start of new friendship maybe, new networks, right? New hopes and dreams, new goals. There's also going to be, of course, your chart ruler, one of your chart ruler, Neptune, will transit will enter Aries permanently. For Pisces rising, Aries is your second house. Neptune, or your chart ruler, is going to move into your second house of money. So your focus for the next 1.5 decade will be on money, because your chart ruler is in the house of money. But you also have to remember, Neptune in the second house, money could dissolve. So you have to be mindful, right? Be regimented, be clear, and take the good things about Neptune, which is inspiration, spirituality, prayers, but leave the negative side of Neptune, which is confusion.